guys, welcome back to week 3 of My Big Fat Mouth. I'm here with Joe Valenzuela. He's one of the pastors here. Today we are talking about the power of words. Take it away, Joe.
Josh, I got a question to ask you.
Yes.
Were you ever raised with the saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never
hurt me?
Yes!
I was guessing. That's the first time I've ever heard
Never heard that before.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we tell kids this all the time. And I think it's like really good intentions. Like, we don't want kids to be going around and hurting each other with words. And then the kids that do get hurt with words, maybe bullied, maybe, pushed around a little bit, things are said about them, and then they come home and they cry.
Right.
Like, you don't want them to feel like, man, these words define me. Like, you don't want those words to be carried into these kids' future. And it makes total sense. But as we get a little older, I think we start to realize that words do have power. And not just power, they have like significant power.
Right.
I want you to think about all the words that have been used to change the trajectory of your life. Maybe not you personally, but maybe you at home have been affected and have the course of your life changed by these simple phrases. I love you. I miss you. I hate you. I want to marry you. I want to get a divorce. You're pregnant. You're going to be a dad. You're going to be a mom.
Man, Joe, that's really good. There's more words, right? There's stuff like you're hired, right?
Yeah.
You're promoted, or congratulations.
Yeah, or words that kind of terrible, like, hey, you're fired. Hey, you need a new job, right? These words are powerful and they change the trajectory of our life. And as much as we want to say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, these kind of words have massive implications on where we're going and who we're going to be. But I don't think I need to spend time convincing you that words have power. Like, we all know that. We've all been affected by it. But what I really want to do is spend some time talking about how our words don't just have power. Our words have power on other people's lives. Like, our words rearrange the world. Going back to week 1, you really spoke into that, how the words that we're around really change the understanding of who we are and our place in this world. And Rick last week really unpacked, like, man, we got to take care of these words. And this week, I really want to dive into how our words reveal who we are and how the world is. And so we need to take ownership of that. Going way, way, way back into Hebrew culture, specifically like in the Old Testament, which is like before the New Testament, there's this word that often comes up. It's the word for spirit or breath or even word. And that word is ruach. Can you say it with me? Ruach. I need that.
It's like a snake.
Yeah, it's like a snake. Ruach. Ruach. And that word, literally translated, means the presence, the essence, the life force. In the early chapters of Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, it says, the Ruach of God hovered over a formless and empty void. It hovered over the waters. And in a literal translation, it's the presence of God, the word of God, the breath of God. And so I love that because in Hebrew thought, they understood words not just to be like mere words, like we're just throwing things out there. No, words rearrange the world. Words rearranged realities. Actually, in the Hebrew culture, what they used to do is they used to take words and write them on their clothing. They'd write words on their door frame. They'd write words above the door frame. It reminds me of like when I was in high school and in our wrestling room, we'd have on the wall, leave everything on the mat. And these words were meant to rearrange our reality and make us think about these things. And in the same way, they wrote them on everything in their household. They even had prayers for them to write on their forehead and write on their wrist because they wanted just to internalize these things because words had so much power in the Hebrew culture. And I think there's something for us to learn in that. And so as we jump into Ephesians today, I would really like us to really consider how not just words have power, but how our words can rearrange the world, reveal who we are, and reveal how the world can be.
Joe, that was really good. Why don't we take a moment, pause it in our groups, and let's discuss this. So number 1, let's talk about some of these phrases in our lives that have been powerful, that have rearranged what our life looks like as people speak into our lives. And then second, let's take a moment to talk about some of the words that we are putting out there. What are some of the things that we're saying that we believe are helpful for other people? Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the discussion. Let's go back into it. Joe, can you talk to us a bit more about the power of words?
Yeah. So now knowing that our words personally are powerful, that they rearrange people's worlds and they rearrange our worlds and they reveal who we are, I think it's important that we try to figure out how to reconstruct our vocabulary and reconstruct the way that we use words with our friends and our family member. And I love that Paul has some strong directives for the church in Ephesus. In chapter 4, in the book of Ephesians, Paul says this to the Ephesian church. He starts like this: do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth. Let's pause right there. Any unwholesome talk.
Anything.
Any unwholesome talk, right? And when you think of unwholesome talk, I can imagine what you're thinking. I can imagine those words that are coming to your mind, right? Like those phrases that just tear people down, you know? Like Chick-fil-A isn't good. Like get that out of your mind, right? Unwholesome. Or like angel baseball is enjoyable. Like just get that out of your mind. That's unwholesome. That's dirty. No, I'm totally playing, guys. But we know what I'm talking about, right? We can get it. Unwholesome talk. We're talking about things like gossip. We're talking things about slander. We're talking things like criticism. We're talking about these phrases, these words that are used and are often unthought about. In a sum, we're talking about the words that are intentionally aimed to damage and hurt somebody else.
These are like words that they just escalate all the situations, right?
Yeah. Like a phrase like, but you said, right? Unwholesome because it's unthought about,
right?
But it intentionally aims to damage. When I think of unwholesome talk, I think about crock pot food versus microwave food. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Tostitos pizza bites, right? Right when you take them out of the oven, you put them in your mouth, or take them out of the microwave, you put them in your mouth, instant lava. But it's delicious.
A little ramen cup. Oh, dude.
So good, right? But you know what's better than that? When you bake those Tostito pizza rolls, when you put them in the oven, or when you have some food that's been thrown in the crock pot and it just marinates and it cooks all day long. Like, that's the healthy food. And so what Paul is really trying to get at is, let's just be attentive with our words. Let's be about words that are wholesome, that aren't just meant to destroy and damage, but let's be honest about the words that we're trying to use, and let's be clear in why we're using them. I think it's so easy to fall into a trap of being passive aggressive. And as you can probably tell,
you're gonna get there.
Yeah, you're like that, like Josh. Like give us a little singing right now.
Dude, I got nervous.
Yeah. Great,
I'm improving.
But you're gonna get there one day, right? You're gonna be a good worship leader one day. Like how passive aggressive is that?
Yeah.
That's not unwholesome at all. That's not wholesome at all. That's unwholesome because I still aim to communicate something that isn't necessarily building you up. Right. And so maybe you're in this place today and you know the power of words and you've been affected by unwholesome words and you're carrying them. I can think about words that I'm still carrying from my childhood that were maybe said afterwards, like, oh, I didn't mean it, but they were spoken into existence and they rearranged my reality and they were hurtful because they were unthought about and they were just thrown out there. And I'm still carrying them to this day. And maybe you're carrying these words. And to you who is carrying those words, I want to say I'm sorry that you're carrying those words. But I also want you to know that Jesus has something so much bigger for you in letting those words go. And so today, in your small group, I want to invite you just to let some of those words go. And also, I want to invite you, on a second note, is to start being conscious of how you use these words to influence and rearrange people's words.
Hey, Joe, that's really good. Can we pause for a moment? And let's talk in our groups about these words, right? So when we do stuff like slander, when we participate in gossip, when we participate in passive aggressiveness, who does it affect more? Is it the person that speaks the words or the person that the words are being spoken about? Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the conversation. Let's move back into some of this teaching portion.
I think we all can get like unwholesome talk. It doesn't just affect me. It doesn't just affect the other person. It's a holistic thing. It's a both and. And so let's just be conscious of that, because Paul doesn't just keep us right there. He doesn't just say, like, don't speak unwholesome talk. So what do we do then? Like, what do we talk about?
Right.
Because it's so much easier to throw things in the microwave,
Like,
right?
is there an alternative, right? Is it just microwave, or
There has to
there
be.
crock pot, right?
There is crock pot, and this is what the crock pot looks like. Paul continues, but only what is helpful for building others up, according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. So Paul doesn't say, just don't talk about unwholesome talk. Don't talk bad about other people, but speak only things that are helpful for building others up. I want you to notice though, building others up. Is that like others up? I remember a couple years ago, I had a friend who called me, and he called me with, man, I just want to call to encourage you. And then he began to dialogue about how he just felt like he wanted to call and encourage people, and how he just felt so good about calling and encouraging people. But I don't know if it's necessarily encouraging me when you're calling me to tell me to encourage me. He meant well.
Yeah.
He meant well.
I want to encourage you by telling you about how good of a person I am.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Paul's call is to be attentive to our friends and family. When we build others up, the best thing we can do is just be so conscious of who they are and what is working in their life, or how God is working in their life, and some of the things that are going on in their life. And building each other up and building others up happens when we're able to notice those little intricate details of their lives, those ebbs and the flows of how God's working, and being able to call attention to it. I mean, building up is really like stepping stones. Like, all right, what's their next level? All right, here it is. What's their next level? Here it is. And helping that person achieve that next level, and not just shooting up here like, man, you're going to be the rock star of the world. Like, that's encouraging, yeah?
Right.
But Josh, man, you did awesome in worship this past week. And I'm excited to see how you continually steer the worship team and steer our active church worship culture to the next level. Like, that's being attentive. And I mean that, by the way. I mean that. I'm just saying that.
It was working.
Yeah, I feel it. You feel it, right? And he continues with, according to their needs. Again, what do you need in that moment? What does that person need in that moment? Being attentive to that. And I love how he closed it off. That it may benefit those who listen. Your words have so much power. I don't want you to waste them, is what Paul's saying. There's going to be some people who listen and some people who just slide it off. There's going to be some people that you think you need to speak into their lives, but you probably should back up a little bit and maybe be a little bit more invested in their life. Paul's saying to those who are going to listen, to those who know, to those who you know, to those who you've spent time with, to those who you see God working in their lives, build them up, encourage them, because they need it. And just watch the unwholesome talk. Just be careful with that, because your words carry so much weight. So we started with the phrase, so sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. How about we change that up? This is going to be kind of cute now, so maybe you guys can talk about this at home. Words have power, yes they do. So let's use them when and how we're supposed to.
Man, Joe, that was cute. No, but I think there's truth to that, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's be intentional about how we're using our words. Hey guys, in this final portion, why don't we take a moment to pause and talk about the use of our words? Then let's take a moment to pray as well, and we'll see you next week as we talk about the influence of our words.